crowds protest over reports of ICE activity in Keene. This is follow-up from last week when, ICE agents were spotted out in Keene along with apparently the police chief of Troy.
Every weekend, the Keene Rally Coalition organizes a peaceful protest. This weekend, it has extra weight.
We're really just here to walk in and engage with a group and understand the anger and what's going on.
In a statement Tuesday, Keene's mayor confirmed reports of ICE agents in the area. The Cheshire County Sheriff said the same. Saturday,
I feel like genetically it affects me. I feel the sadness and the horror of it to my soul.
protesters say it proves their message needs to continue.
It's the only way I think that we're going to help to convince the people who are our friends and neighbors is by showing up and letting them know that what we stand for.
A small number of people made claims of disruptive protests earlier in the week.
Most ICE agents, when you talk to them, why do they wear masks? Because they're getting doxxed. Their families are getting doxxed. They're being threatened. They're getting death threats.
Both sides agree on the importance of speaking up.
I know some of these people here, they have every constitutionally protected right to be out here exercising their right to protest.
This community, it's our home, but these people are our family.
Now, we asked the Department of Homeland Security about these reports. They sent us a statement back this morning. It says in part, quote, ICE Boston routinely conducts operations across New England, which includes the state of New Hampshire. For operational security purposes, ICE does not disclose information pertaining to current or ongoing operations, including law enforcement plans, tactics, or strategies.
Yep.
Man, it's kind of hard to react to content like that. I call it content. It's hard to react to news like that
Yeah.
because it's like, in a lot of ways, this is like that story is nothing, right? Like, okay, we have a bunch of protesters that don't like ICE being here, and we have ICE saying, yeah, like we conduct a whole bunch of shit, and for OPSEC reasons, we're not going to tell you what it is. And it's like, okay, well then what are we talking about here? Like this isn't like i- i- in other news, water is wet, the sky is blue, and grass is green. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
we
mean,
know. Where's the hard hitting journalism? Where's the like any kind of actual investigation into what's happening right now? There's no effort on the part of WMUR or any of these other outlets to try and like dig in. All they're gonna do is tell you like, "Oh yeah, ICE went to Keene," and like maybe tell us more about where the actual townspeople are at. Like, would tell us not just the protesters that showed up to the event. Talk about the. I mean, I know they have other articles where they cover, and
yeah.
video pieces where they cover the town meetings and stuff like that. But that to me is just like, I guess it's like, here's what's happening in your community, and we're not going to say anything about it at all. And you probably already know
Yeah.
what's going on, but please give us more money. Like,
I
fuck,
mean,
man.
I think I guess I would say it's better than nothing for them to like highlight like that for this community. Like, yes, it is a
Yes.
problem. You know what I mean?
Yes, no, you're absolutely right, and I mean, like, that is sort of like the counterpoint. I guess maybe the cynic in me is starting to get a little irritated with the way that WMUR is operating,
Yeah.
as if I
That
wasn't
like
already irritated enough,
the
but
guise of like neutrality when like a lot of the times it is kind of leaning in one way.
yeah, and I mean, like, and I say this, no disrespect to the protesters that show up, right? But I feel like when I watch this stuff, they'll, like, find the most Woodstock maxed boomers to interview, and it's
Yeah.
like, these, like, the the older population that goes out and does the Saturday protests, across the state, where, like, they'll find, like, the biggest intersection in their town, and they'll go and they'll do it, right? It's like, that's such a small sliver of the people that are, like, deeply upset and frustrated about this.
Yeah.
All the people you're not talking to are the people that are like, I don't want to have my face scanned
Yeah.
by an ICE officer and then get put into a database. You know what I mean? Like, and that comes down to a certain amount of, like, technological literacy, I wanna say, where it's like for millennials like us, or Gen Z or whatever, certain portions of Gen X, they're like, we're all like, "Yeah, no, tech is scary." And there's, like, you don't go do these things if you don't have, some sort of, like, baggy balaclava or something like that, something that makes it difficult for your face to be scanned. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, that sort of, like, repetitive, um, protesting that happens, like, I mean, here in my town, it's like ever since BLM, and I'm not saying this to shit on anybody, but, like, ever since BLM, like clockwork, every single Saturday, there is, like, a whole troop of boomers that go out and they hold up signs that say, like, "integrity," or, you know what I mean? Like, stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's like, okay, I I respect that that is, like, you're coming from a post MLK era. You know what I mean? Like, this is very much so, like, a huge portion of what you're invested in. This is what you care about. This is the way that you know how to do your activism. And I it just it doesn't necessarily land in the same way for people that grew up with the internet, who grew up with like, who got hit with cell phones when they were like, touch screen cell phones. Sorry, I'm, like, babbling over here.
Yeah, no, I
Uh,
get you.
but, smartphones, it doesn't hit the same for us because we know how much we're being spied on. You know what I
Right.
mean? We're very conscious of the degree to which we live in this hyper surveillance state. So doing things like going out and going to a protest, for a lot of people that are actually aware of what the current dynamic is, it's it's a lot sketchier, and you know that you're being recorded. You know what I mean? And that's the type of shit that gets you put on lists. And I don't know, I think the older population of boomers that engage in that type of activism are just maybe a little less sensitive to it. Maybe they're a little bit more insulated. I mean, again, most of those folks that are out there doing that probably have a certain amount of, uh, individualized economic stability. Most of them are white. Like, they're not exactly in a whole lot of jeopardy. And I say all this from a state that has, like, far less flock cameras than, say, the greater metropolitan area of Boston or downtown Providence, Rhode Island, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot fucking like, surveillance going on over in those places. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was reading an article about, Rhode Island, and I think I saw a post by, like, the Rhode Island police or something saying, like, "This is actually not true that these, the automated" whatever the hell the acronym is, the license plate readers, they're like, "These don't, scan whatever you think it does. It only the only thing it does is take pictures of the license plate, and that's it." I'm like, "That's fucking literally not true, though." It's crazy, like, the blatant lies that, a lot of these, places are willing to put out.
Yeah. Yeah. Alright, so what do we got with this one? ICE pitches legal insurance to help shield local officers who make immigration arrests.
Yeah. So that should
Ah.
boost everyone's confidence that they're doing the right thing, right? Is wanting to have insurance, like, against, Yeah.
As of 2 o'clock this afternoon, all ICE enforcement officers in Maine now have body-worn cameras. This is according to Senator Susan Collins. The senator says the officers have also been trained on
Okay,
how
is
to
this
use them.
unrelated?
The
I mean, I guess it is related, but not quite the headline.
cameras are 2 weeks ahead of schedule. Collins says she spoke with the agency last month and was told the cameras would be out by the end of August.
And but this also brings up the problem we were just saying is that they want those. Those are no longer like a thing that you can be like, oh well, they're on camera, so they're not going to want to do something crazy, right? Like it's actually the opposite at this point. They do want the cameras.
I mean, look, I'm all for ICE agents wearing body cameras if those cameras cannot be turned off at any single time, and that if those recordings go directly into a publicly available database. But again, like, th this is all nonsense. None of this is gonna stop anything, none of this is gonna help anything. The only thing that stops this, the only thing that helps is to completely abolish ICE as an entire institution, just delete it from the face of the country, and, while we're at it, repeal the Patriot Act and go back to a pre-Patriot Act form of, border patrol, customs, and immigration naturalization services. That's the way you do this. That is the only way that you do this. There is not another way that you do this. Not in the current climate. Like, what I'm offering right there is like, that's such a fucking insanely progressive and left-wing thing to say in the United States of America at this particular time. Like, honestly, we're starting to get to this point where I'm, like, wondering to myself if we're gonna end up needing some sort of interstate, passport, basically. Like, I'm genuinely wondering if we're gonna hit a point where it's it's like, like,
Yeah.
the union of the states becomes a lot more akin to trying to go between, say, the UK um, and the greater Europe. Like, that's the kinda thing I'm concerned with right
Right,
now,
because people are already being
because
tracked across state lines for things that they're doing in other states that aren't crimes there, but they are in the state that they
right.
come from. So, like, how the hell do you
Yeah,
charge
like,
something like that? Like,
yeah, and I mean, like, dude, God forbid you wanna go fucking pick up a bag from a dispensary in Boston or, like, just over the border in Massachusetts. Like, you get clipped by a flock camera, good luck, buddy. You do that on a regular iteration, they're gonna crack on you. You know what I mean? Because I mean, we're not even talking about that article yet, so I can
yeah.
revisit this conversation later.
But, yeah, just wanted to, include some more context as well. Those electric shock gloves have already been in use by, police departments in Bellevue, Omaha, as
Jesus.
well as being, given to, school resource officers as well.
Yeah, see, that ain't it, dude. That's like you're using it in schools? I'm sorry, schools. We're using these on children.
Yeah, and the way that they frame it is that it's a non-escalation tactic, which is not what I don't think that's what that is at all. That is or
What does
like
that mean? What do they mean by non-escalation tactic? Hold on a minute. That's not that is unhinged.
where the hell? All right, yeah, I'll just read this here. The electric shock gloves making headlines after Immigration and Customs Enforcement announced it was planning to outfit its agents with technology have already been used in Nebraska for years. Last May, the Omaha Police Department submitted a request to the Omaha City Council to buy 40 pairs of gloves for a little under 66,000. The gloves were intended to be used by school resource officers, quote, as another use of force option with the goal of de-escalating and preventing use of force situations, according to the document submitted to the city council. Like that sentence in and of itself just like fucking reverses, does it not? Like it cancel like what is so it's a use of force option to prevent a use of force situation. Like how does that line up?
I okay. So it, this is like the good guy with a gun argument kind of stuff right here. It's it's like, oh yeah, well, you don't have to worry about everybody shooting each other if you have one guy that's good that shoots everybody first. So nobody can shoot anybody else. Like, well, did you just de-escalate the situation? Did you prevent the situation from escalating any further by just murdering everybody that was there? Is that how that works? Like,
Yeah.
I don't and then it's like, okay, it de-escalates the situation in the short term. I like, let's assume their premise, right? We assume we be charitable to these fucking shitheads. Um, it de-escalates the one aggressor that you have directly in front of you, but what's to say that the act of using that tool doesn't escalate others around the person using the tool, using the gloves, to then attack that officer? Well, if you've got 4 people jumping the officer and you've got 2 hands on the officer with the gloves, would it because you just shocked somebody, did you really just de-escalate the situation? Furthermore, let's say that this everything pans out, you scare the shit out of the people that are around this person. What are they gonna do? They're gonna pull out their phones, they're gonna record it, they're gonna put it on social media, everybody's gonna see it, and then you have a different kind of escalation.
Yeah.
Maybe, like, what, like, why? What's the point? Then everybody's talking about how there's these terrible school resource officers shocking the fuck out of children and they, like, in between class because they, like, got a little too rowdy in the hallway. Like, I don't really understand the argument. I don't know. I I just don't believe that creating more technologically advanced tools of violence is the best way to remove violence as an equation, right? If you
Yeah,
talk
well, see,
to,
this is the quote from the, use of force trainer at, Omaha, police department here. The quote is, "It's all about reducing risk, reducing injury, and gaining compliance in the shortest time possible." So that's what that's all about, apparently.
yeah, but, like, repercussions of the actions be damned? Like, you don't care, you're like, "Oh,
Like,
all
ev
that media blowback is whatever, like, we just sit here and shut up and just nod and let the commissioner do all the talking for us," or something like that. Is that the argument? Or that would that ostensibly be the follow-up to that?
yeah, that's fucked.
I just don't, I don't, this is insane, right? Like, um because this goes this it, the way I see it, a lot of this kind of gets back to the whole, like, argument of community policing, right? Like, the whole idea, this is I once again, I hate slogans, you know, because defund the police, and now you got people like AOC being like, "Yeah, woke one was crazy."
Yeah,
Or I've got this counselor that I talk to, and he always says the woke one is crazy. I don't want to misattribute that quote because AOC didn't say that. Somebody else said that to AOC, and AOC repeated it. Um, the point is not that woke one was wrong. The point was that the messaging behind woke one was not, like, betrayed the ultimate goals and maybe led people to believe that what was happening was something other than what was happening, right? When you say
yeah,
defund the police, the whole point is that you're trying to, like, undermine a system of justice that is oppressive, and to find a way to make the application of justice less oppressive. That's the whole purpose. That's done through community policing and support networks. Like, if you let's say you actually wanna genuinely, um you actually wanna do something about gun control in this country, right? You wanna reduce the number of firearms that everybody's got, right? You don't ratchet up the amount of violence. You don't like that's not the way that you do that. You're not like, "Oh, like, let's pour more guns in." The way to control guns is just make sure everybody's got one. If you just make sure
So
everybody's strapped, um, on my Gil Scott Heron shit, everybody's got a pistol, everybody's got a 45. Um, it's not that that doesn't fix anything, right? That just means we're all, like, operating at this higher level of anxiety because everybody's just constantly got it in their heads like, "Geez, what if what if some asshole shoots and then I gotta shoot, and then we're all in a gunfight and everything is just
yeah,
every moment of your life is lived on the edge." Um, no, I'm not making this argument right now to say, "Oh, we should get rid of guns," because I don't think that's possible right now. I just don't think that's a reality. In fact, I do
yeah,
actually,
no,
you know, given the current situation, I would say, no, it's probably smarter to go get a gun actually. Like,
yeah,
given the way things
honestly,
are going, um, but the point the point overall though, is that you have to change the culture to a point where people don't feel like they need guns at all, right? Like,
right,
that has to be done voluntarily. Like, you have to decide actively. You're like, "I don't fucking need this thing in my house, on my body, all the time anymore." Like, it's because it's not doing anything. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I could find a use for my impact driver, like, so many places and times or whatever, but I don't walk around with my impact driver strapped to my belt
yeah,
because that would be ridiculous. It's not light. It's like it's gonna yank on my pants all day. Like, there's no point in doing that. Like, sure, there are a lot of screws that I could run into that might need tightening.
yeah,
Like, I'm not it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna run around with this impact driver on me all day. You know what I mean? Like, if it I will keep it in my tool bags when I'm doing a lot of screwing, when I'm doing a lot like, when I'm running around doing a lot of stuff that requires me to drive screws. Because that's the point of it. Like, that's the time that you use it. You keep it in your kit when you need it, and when you don't need it anymore, you don't use it that often. I don't run around with my jigsaw strapped to me anywhere near as frequently as I run around with my impact driver because I use the jigsaw way less. 9 times out of 10, that jigsaw stays in. I should say it's a saber saw. I get it. There's a lot of, like, holy shit, that you need to get woke carpenter on me. Um, the like, most of those things just stay in the kit all the time, right? And I know that I'm using an analogy that's, like, incredibly relevant to me, and there's probably a lot of people that are like, "What the fuck is this guy talking about? I don't understand. I'm not a carpenter. I don't build shit." So this is for all you hobby horse dudes out there in the chat and on the playback. But seriously, it doesn't you have to be at a point where you just don't need that thing anymore. Like, you have to realize that it's not providing you any utility to take the extra time the beginning of your day before you go out to buy groceries to get all strapped up with your fucking concealed carry on your hip, and then you got one on your down on your pant leg, and, like, like, you just, like, you run around with guns all over you, right? The whole point is that, like, you just feel safe enough in your community that you don't need it.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden, everybody is just like, "Yeah, we're gonna leave the guns at home." And then you go years and years and years, and you don't use the guns, and you realize that, like, "Oh, geez, I'm not like a firearms artist." You know?
yeah,
Like, I just picked these up because I was fucking freaked out, and since I'm not freaked out anymore and I don't need them, I can get rid of them. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like there's no reason for me to be concerned about it because my community has invested to a point where, like, there's mental health services, we have, um, you know,
yeah.
uh,
That needs to
injection
be like a
centers, people who
nationwide
are
thing as
addicted to
well.
things, and we treat it like it's a health problem, you know what I mean? Like, all this stuff. We do have police officers. They live in the community. They literally live here. They have to shop at the same stores that we do. They have to, like,
Yeah, that
all that
should
stuff.
honestly
These
be
police
a fucking law that police need to live in the same district that they are working in.
Right, they need to live in the jurisdiction that they patrol. I want that's like I'm a huge proponent of that, right?
Yeah.
because all of a sudden, like,
Yeah, cops
if you
going into the big
go
city
out
from
and
the
fuck
suburbs to
around.
go and fight crime, is gonna be
Yeah,
like Billy
exactly.
Badass, gonna go where the crime is, you know?
Right, right, exactly. So that just, like, all this to say that, I mean, we kinda got away from the original thing, and I don't even necessarily know what I'm saying anymore, but I really just I do think that this is the actual way that you approach it logically. You know what I mean? If you're genuinely if you want to reduce the incidences of violence, right? If you wanna just lower the temperature on all that, if you're worried about conflicts occurring on school grounds, you know what you do? You fucking fully fund public education, jackasses. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, you make sure the school has enough goddamn resources to a point where you're not like, "Oh, man, our school is underfunded, and now we don't have enough staff to make sure that the students' needs are being met," so they're not just sitting around getting more and more irritated, which is gonna probably lead to them fighting more. So, the solution is not to make sure that we have enough resources to attend to the needs of all the students. The solution that we need is to strap the school resource officer with shot gloves.
Right.
What?
Makes total sense.
Sure. Anyways, let's
Yep.
go with this.
Yep, so, I don't know how much of this, we're gonna get through. We're gonna just have it play at a little bit
We'll do what we
faster
can.
speed. We got, the meeting from Keene here. First few minutes is just, the town manager, I believe, explaining the situation, like, out like, they see it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. My name is Amanda Palmera. I'm the city attorney.
City
As
attorney.
city attorney, my role is to advise the city council and the city staff as an objective advisor about the laws that relate to their work. As such, I wanted to give a quick general overview of some of the laws and legal structures that are relevant to the conversations we may have tonight. First, the relationship between local municipal law enforcement and federal law enforcement. I understand our focal point tonight may be Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, which is a part of the Federal Department of Homeland Security. What I'm about to say could also be true of other federal enforcement agencies such as the IRS, the FBI, Post Office. Federal government structures are a product of the federal United States Constitution. Federal agencies act as the enforcement arms of the federal executive branch, authorized by Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution. Article 6 of the U.S. Constitution contains what's called the Supremacy Clause, which states that the United States Constitution and federal statutes and laws shall be the supreme law of the land. That means that the federal law applies throughout the country and cannot be undermined or ignored by the governments within the country.
I just wanted to pause. Excuse me. Just wanted to pause there real quick and say this is also for more added context. Like there are states in which marijuana is legalized, even though it's illegal federally. So that doesn't always apply. It's kind of like a very weird pick and choosy type situation when it comes to state versus federal authority.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely situations where state laws will be in contradiction of federal laws. Um, and a lot of the time, like in the specific instance of marijuana, a lot of the time, what the Fed decides is they're essentially taking the position that it's not worth it for us to expend resources going after this federalized crime in a state where it's legal. Like, it's not that they can't by any means, it's just that it doesn't monetarily make sense for them to expend resources pursuing that in a place where it's so generalized anyways.
Yeah.
It would be taking away from resources that could be going towards, like, breaking up trafficking rings, like human trafficking rings and stuff like that,
Yeah.
so in a lot of ways for them, they're like, "Alright, like, you guys wanna deal with whatever crime associates itself with that level of legalization in your state, be our guest." Um Sounds like it's your problem now.
Yeah.
An application, the Supremacy Clause prohibits states and local governments from interfering with or controlling the operations of the federal government. That also means that ICE and other federal law enforcement agencies have jurisdiction and authority to act and enforce federal laws anywhere within the United States of America. It means that state, county, or municipal governments cannot interfere with those operations without risk of violating the Supremacy Clause. There are also some other federal statutes that have specific ways that law enforcement agencies on the local level must comply with federal law enforcement agencies. For example, the United States Code Title VIII prohibits local law enforcement agencies from refusing to share information about someone's immigration status if they have it with federal immigration authorities. There also have been laws created that directly prohibit local governments from adopting policies or taking actions that would interfere with federal immigration authorities. For example, in May of 2025, the president issued an executive order number 14287 that ordered the Secretary of Homeland Security to identify communities with policies that are aimed to obstruct federal immigration law enforcement as sanctuary jurisdictions, and the secretary was ordered to suspend or terminate federal grants and contracts with those communities as appropriate. More locally, in New Hampshire, the New Hampshire legislature passed 2 bills last year that created several state statutes referred to in New Hampshire as the anti-sanctuary city laws. Those statutes prohibit local law enforcement agencies from refusing to comply with federal enforcement agencies that are enforcing immigration law. And they prohibit local municipal governments from adopting policies that could prevent local law enforcement agencies from complying with the federal laws, the laws that require them to cooperate or communicate with federal immigration agencies. Those statutes are in RSAs.
Okay. I want everybody to be 100% fucking crystal clear-eyed when you think about this for a second. Totally fine. Totally fine for the state government to say, no, you do not, as a municipality, you as a locality, you have absolutely no right to make any decision about the way that you will be policed. You have no choice about that whatsoever. We as the state are going to tell you exactly how you need to enact this type of society. But
Yeah.
when it comes to excuse me, when it comes to taxation, when it comes to paying for your public schools, they're like, no, that's 100% on you.
Yeah.
That is entirely your problem. So when the conservative majority in the state house says that they're against big government or whatever, not when it comes to this kind of stuff. Not even a little bit. Not even in the slightest. When it comes to oppressing you and making you feel uncomfortable, making you feel surveilled, making you feel like the feds are up your fucking ass all the goddamn time, and that your local police force are also, in fact, the fucking feds, totally fine with that kind of authoritarianism. Totally fine with that kind of saying fuck you to the local control. That's all well and good, but when it comes to leaving you to drown at the bottom of the fucking swimming pool, I'm thinking of that meme, the kid
Yeah.
who's like getting a lot of attention from their parent, and then the other kid who's like struggling,
Yeah.
and then there's the skeleton at the bottom of the pool. That's what I'm thinking about. But yeah, seriously, this double standard shit should not be acceptable. There's no ideological consistency here whatsoever. So all the little don't step on snack people, you can maybe take note of the fact that you love getting stepped on. You
Yeah.
love it. You get off on it. In fact, you want that little gag ball in there too. You want to choke on it. Have fun.
So is the people screaming about freedom that are always, want the authoritarian policies because they don't think it's going to affect them. But they're like, no, no, that's just gonna go after them, my enemies and such. It's like, no, dude, that's not how it's not how authoritarianism works.
Yeah, but watch when Democrats get control again, all of a sudden it's gonna be like, "Wait, no, you can't do this. You're just infringing on my rights."
Yeah.
No, you just you shut up, man.
Yeah.
Quit being
Like
a little baby.
ridiculous.
Anyways, you can continue. Sorry, I just wanted
Chapter
to, like, really drive that home.
Yeah.
106P, 106Q, and 106R. Quickly, too, related to the authority of local governments, I want to mention the statutory role of our city council and our city staff. By state statute and as per our city charter, we have what's called a councilor manager form of government, meaning that the city council is responsible for the fiscal, prudential, and municipal affairs of the city, while our city manager is the head of the administrative branch of our city government, supervising the administrative affairs of the city and carrying out the policies enacted by the elected body. That means that the city manager is responsible for overseeing the city staff and operations. To some degree, this may limit what the city council has the authority and jurisdiction to do at times. Going back to the federal level real quick, separate from the federal statutes and the supremacy clause, I also wanted to mention what's called the 287G agreements. 287G refers to a specific section of the United States Immigration and Nationality Act, and that provision authorizes Department of Homeland Security to deputize state and local law enforcement officers to enforce federal immigration law. You may have heard that the New Hampshire State Police and several other New Hampshire governments, municipalities have signed these agreements with DHS. Keene has not signed one of these agreements. A local law enforcement agency that signs a 287G agreement can be directed by ICE to perform ICE's functions and enforce immigration law anywhere that ICE has jurisdiction, which again is anywhere in the United States, not just within that municipal law enforcement's jurisdiction. I last wanted to address the memorandum of understanding that the Keene Police Department has with other municipalities in Cheshire County. You may recall we discussed this MOU in the FOP committee back in February. There, we discussed that this MOU is a mutual aid agreement between the municipal police departments in Cheshire County, intending to allow them to call upon each other for backup and assistance, just like other mutual aid agreements and how they function. The MOU is only among the municipalities in Cheshire County. It does not have any part with federal agencies. However, as discussed, a federal agency would not need to be requested to come to a municipality because their jurisdiction is federal.
Steve Stewart.
So that just sounded like a real long way to say there's nothing you can do about any of this.
Yeah, more or less.
Not, yeah, just hold on. Let me go back real quick. And so she was saying that since they have a memorandum of understanding that police from different towns can call each other for backup, does that mean that ICE can direct the police from one town to then call for backup from another town and have them effectively be all together working as ICE agents, even though they are not in a contract? Is that like a possibility I'm reading in between the lines here of?
It's not spelled out explicitly, but I would imagine that if something like that were to happen, right? Um, there would be enough murkiness, right? That like as it would it would kind of fall under the uh don't ask for forgiveness or don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Um blah 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 wet blanket blah blah. Yeah. I mean, no, um it is entirely possible that if you depends on what officer you're talking to, honestly. Like, at that point, it really comes down to, like, the subjective departments and, like, the police chiefs and whatever, right? And
Yeah.
whoever's running dispatch and all that, because I could easily see, an officer, breaking from the pack, as it were. and being like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go help them." You know what I mean? Maybe
Yeah.
not.
Mm.
Maybe it's that's I feel I mean, I'm wary of speculating on that because we don't necessarily have any visibility on how strict those particular, like, police departments follow those guidelines, and I would imagine that their adherence varies from township to township, and how much blowback that particular police department would be under if their locality found out that they had sent officers to aid officers that were working as, like, in their capacity as, um, ICE agents. So, it's it's a little tricky. I would imagine that there's absolutely a possibility of it happening because the wheels of justice that would deliver punishment for that action turn slowly, and then like, honestly, worst case scenario, what happens? Like, oh, you get paid put on, like, a suspension
Yeah.
with while still
An
being
internal
paid. We're
investigation
gonna we're gonna
and, yeah.
we're gonna send that cop that broke those rules um, on a nice little paid vacation
Yeah,
as a
exactly.
punishment.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
horrible. I'm sure they hate it.
Right.
Like, now you take a couple of weeks off and think about what you've done. Go to the corner, I guess. Should be effective. We'll see.
The MOU is only among the municipal.
I was asked to give a little bit of background in terms of the events of not this past weekend, but the weekend before. My knowledge, my firsthand knowledge is pretty limited. I'm aware that officers from ICE came to the police station, checked in with our dispatcher to let them know that they were going to be in the city conducting some investigations, and that they spent some amount of time in our parking lot waiting for each other as a staging area before they went somewhere else. That's pretty much the gist of what I know regarding that. Sort of in terms of going forward, what you could expect or should expect from this police department, that is that every person that we deal with, regardless of their immigration status or any other factor in their life, is going to be treated fairly and with respect and with as much dignity as each situation will allow. You should expect that we will comply with the New Hampshire Attorney General's office guidance regarding fair and impartial policing, meaning we will never ask a victim of a crime or a witness to a crime about their immigration status. So those are things that are important to know. In terms of future operations,
Can they really guarantee that though? If like the situation before what like we've been talking about like kind of apply to that? Like
I
is it
mean, no, they
you don't
can't
think
guarantee that, because you can't, like,
like you're not there with all the
you
specific
can't.
officers around, yeah.
Right, I mean, like, because you can't control, an officer that's gonna, like, you know, play a little, color outside the lines a little bit,
Yeah.
be a bit of an outlaw, about it.
Right.
Yeah, there's no way to deal with that, you know what I mean? Like, look, like, you got fucking police officers that are using the flock system to stalk significant others. Like, cops break the law all the fucking time. You got domestic abusers that operate as police officers. This is just normal. Um, and so in the bureaucratic sense, legally, he can say, yes, we can guarantee this. But in the material real world moment with human beings that have reactions and emotions and complex feelings, all that, no, you can't guarantee that for shit. Like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like, I don't you have to give me something more like like word more coherent than trust me, bro. That's a trust me, bro argument.
Yeah.
Um, and it leans entirely on the authority of the AG's office to make it, which, like, again, is kind of sus.
Mm,
especially with this governor.
yeah. As well as the fact that she is, saying like, "Yeah, come on in, election, what monitors. Like you are totally welcome in my state. Come on in." Good stuff.
In the city with ICE, what you should expect is that if they ask for information about a person or a place, we will give them the information that we have. You should expect that if they are involved in an emergency situation and require assistance, we will respond to assist them. You should expect that I will not be issuing any sweeping condemnation of any federal law enforcement agency, and I won't be banning them from our parking lots or property. So again, what I really want to leave you with is that our intention, our goal, our mission is to treat every person we deal with respect and dignity and fairness.
I love living here. I've lived here for a while.
We
It
got
is a
mad.
wonderful
Look out.
community, and I would hope that we could come
Yeah. All right. A couple more things here.
together and support our immigrants. So I have like a question about if the police were not working with, directly with ICE, why were police vehicles following the ICE vehicle? And also, I saw an increase in police activity on my street. There was a sense of fear that was instilled in all of us. I am glad that I was able to come and help our immigrant friends and the people in my neighborhood. And I felt okay. But even somebody who's been here for a long, long time, who has a family and a son and a husband, she came home, and I won't say her name, but she lives near me, and she was scared. She had some people come follow her home from her job here in Keene so that she could get safely to her residence. So that's what I want to say. I just think we really maybe aren't being given all the complete information. So thank you.
Thank you. And I want to recognize the city manager, just a fact check.
I just want to clarify, the black vehicle with the red light is the fire department. That is a command vehicle, and the fire department and the police department and the fire department go together, not an ICE vehicle.
Although you can definitely see why somebody would think that it was just like an all black, suburban type vehicle.
Okay, thank you. So, Ms. Quigley?
It's a black SUV.
Yeah. I mean,
On Sunday, August 9th, I learned that the wife of a community member who had been abducted by ICE the day before was contacted and told to come pick up his keys at the Keene Police Department. Before she went, out of concern for her safety, I went to the Keene Police Department parking lot to check for ICE's presence in the area. While there, I went in and asked, hypothetically, how a situation like this would be handled. What I learned shocked me. I was told, the keys have been returned to ICE. Instead of returning a family's property to the family, our police department handed those keys back to ICE? A decision that meant ICE would be the one to track her down. That put her in the position of being sought out and approached by ICE directly, with all the fear and risk that carries, instead of simply being asked to walk into her own apartment and retrieve her husband's keys. It is my understanding that Keene police are obligated to assist ICE when presented with a judicial warrant. That is the law, and I'm not asking anyone to break it. But choosing to hand over a resident's personal property to a federal agency seems beyond what the law requires. That was a choice that made a grieving, frightened woman more vulnerable, not less. So tonight I'm asking this council for three things, and the police department.
yeah, I feel like they just that's messed up, man. Just I don't think they were thinking about it at all. They're just like, "Nah, you deal with this." Or I don't know, that's pretty
Right.
like
Well,
ICE
and
had
that's
handed the police the keys so that they could, return it to the family members, but they're just like, "Nah, you take it." Like, what, dude?
Yeah, that's how it works though. When you are you got a cop talking to an ICE agent, there's a certain amount of yeah, we're sort of in adjacent fields, you know, we're all part of the greater entity that is law enforcement in the United States. And so there's a certain amount of like mutual trust that's applied to this scenario. It's like, yeah, you're probably not a bad guy, right? Like we all do the same job. I don't think I'm a bad guy, so you're probably not a bad guy. It's fine.
Yeah.
Um And so, yeah, for them, it's like they don't skip a beat. They don't think about it like at all. Like um there's no consideration in any way, shape, or form that that something bad might fucking happen because of that. Uh
Right.
and at the end of the day, it's like you're ICE not so much. The local cops, you are fucking servants of the people the same way an elected official is a servant of the public. Like you don't like you need to be like an appropriate arbiter of that. There is
Right. You need public trust in order to do your job, like in the
right.
community, dude.
There's there's a reason um that um in the Republic there is a reason that Socrates, Glaucon, and Adamantius spend so much time talking about what the arbiters of justice need to what the specific standard that they're held to. They don't spend anywhere near as much time talking about, the the rights and responsibilities and well, I mean, they do talk about rights a bit, but the responsibilities and duties of, like, the workers. You know what I mean? Like, they don't go into, anywhere near as much, like, rigorous depth over what the standards for those people need to be. There's a reason they spend so much time talking about the people that need to protect the democracy. Um, and it's because of situations exactly like this, because of how easily corrupted, how easily, um, yeah, those people can be pushed in the wrong direction because they don't understand what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And how much damage that shit can cause to the society, the ideal society that they're discussing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Fuck. Do we wanna, watch a little more of this, or you think we should move on here? Hmm.
If you think there's any, like, kernels of value in it, I mean, I think
For sure. Here, let me
it's
move a little
tricky
bit.
because, like, I think the real thing that we have to
Way
confront
back.
ourselves with is that, we can talk about this until we're blue in the face, but what we're experiencing right now, right here, is the extent to which the federal government can just kind of do whatever the fuck it wants.
Yeah.
And the gap between the actions of agents and the legal repercussions that control or restrain those actions are on two very, very different time scales. You know, the oppression happens instantaneously, and it can and it cannot be in breach of permission structures, right? The amount of time it takes to litigate that and apply appropriate punishments, especially when the system itself currently does not allow for any punishment to be doled out. We literally need to wait until the administration is completely different, and I mean at the executive level, and probably the legislative level itself as well, and honestly, probably the judicial level. Um, yeah, you're not gonna get any actual, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? punishments. You're not gonna get any accountability for the actions of those agents. This is why everybody says like, "Oh yeah, geez, I can't wait." You know, the libs will be like, "Oh, I can't wait until we're out of this, and then we can put um Stephen Miller on trial or whatever." And it's like,
Like, yeah,
good
I
luck
don't
with that.
right.
You I don't think you have any comprehension of the how far left wing your government needs to be in order for that to occur. Because
Yeah, no, the second
I
Biden was
truly
office,
I
he's
can
like, "Yeah, we're moving forward, doing whatever. Let's keep it moving, Jack,"
right,
you know?
right, right. I can 100% assure you that,
Same thing with Obama and Bush.
yeah, the whatever the liberal governments the like, whatever liberal majority would do once the table turns, um, it's not gonna crack down anywhere as near as hard. And if you really want that, you need to have DSA endorsed candidates, you need to have genuine progressives that will run on a sort of like DSA adjacent style platform or something maybe even more progressive than that, progressive, even more left wing. People that are genuinely like, "No, we're going to take the time to completely toss these fucking jackasses in prison."
Yeah.
That's a priority. Is genuinely holding the standard there, not like, it's in the past, bygones be bygones, it's fine, whatever, like, no, these people
Like,
should be in
yeah,
prison.
like, it's insane. The whole thing where, the presidential immunity, if he's doing something, acting as president, then whatever he did is not illegal. Like, that's
Right.
like, what? Does his entire
Yeah.
cabinet have that as well? Like, everyone, all the officials under him that are, doing this insane shit right now?
Like I said, it's one of those things like better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Go ahead and do the thing and then be like, "Sorry, can you guys retcon the law a little bit so that this is okay for us, please?"
Yeah,
And,
I mean, with all the fucking rapists in in the Trump administration, it kinda makes sense, and,
yeah,
all this
yeah,
fucking strategy of just, like, do whatever the fuck you want, doesn't matter, like, who you hurt and, like, whether the population is willing or not, you know? That's just how they roll, I
yeah.
guess.